This video is a quick tour of the RStudio integrated development environment inside a Watson Studio project. From any project, you can launch the RStudio IDE. RStudio is a free and open source integrated development environment for R, a programming language for statistical computing and graphics. In RStudio, there are 4 panes: the source pane, the console pane, the environment pane, and the files pane. The panes help you organize your work and separate the different tasks you'll do with R. You can drag to resize the panes or use the icons to minimize and maximize a pane. You can also rearrange the panes in global options. The console pane is your interface to R. It's exactly what you would see in terminal window or user interfaces bundled with R. The console pane does have some added features that you'll find helpful. To run code from the console, just type the command. Start typing a command to see a list of commands that begin with the letters you started typing. Highlight a command in the list and press Enter to insert it. Use the up arrow to scroll through the commands you've previously entered. As you issue more commands, you can scroll through the results. Use the menu option to clear the console. You can also use tab completion to see a list of the functions, objects, and datasets beginning with that text, and use the arrows to highlight a command to see help for that command. When you're ready, just press Enter to insert it. Next, you'll see a list of the options for that command in the current context. For example, the first argument for the read.csv function is the file. RStudio will display a list of the folders and files in your working directory so you can easily locate the file to include with the argument. Lastly, if you use the tab completion with a function that expects a package name, such as a library, you'll see a list of all the installed packages. Next, let's look at the source pane, which is simply a text editor for you to write your R code. The text editor supports R command files and plain text, as well as several other languages, and includes language-specific highlighting in context. And you'll notice that tab completion is also available in the text editor. From the text editor, you can run a single line of code or select several lines of code to run. And you'll see the results in the console pane. You can save your code as an R script to share or run again later. The View function opens a new tab that shows the data frame in spreadsheet format, or you can display it in its own window. Now you can scroll through the data, sort the columns, search for specific values, or filter the rows using the sliders and drop-down menus. The Environment pane contains an Environment tab, a History tab, and a Connections tab, and keeps track of what's been happening in this R session. The Environment tab contains the R objects that exist in your global environment created during this session. So when you create a new object in the console pane, it automatically displays in the Environment pane. You can also view the objects related to a specific package, and even see the source code for a specific function. You can also see a list of the datasets, expand a dataset to inspect its individual elements, and view them in the source pane. You can save the contents of an environment as an R data file so you can load that R data file at a later date. From here, you can also clear the objects from the workspace. If you want to delete specific items, use the grid view. For example, you can easily find large items to delete to free up memory in your R session. The Environment tab also allows you to import a dataset. You can see a preview of the dataset and change options before completing the import. The imported data will display in the source pane. The History tab displays a history of each of the commands that you've run at the command line. Just like the Environment tab, you can save the history as an RHistory file, so you can open it at a later date. And this tab has the same options to clear all of the history and individual entries in the history. Select a command and send it to the console to rerun the command. You can also copy a command to the source pane to include it in a script. On the Connections tab, you can create a new connection to a data source. The choices in this dialog box are dependent upon which packages you have installed. For example, a BlueDB connection allows you to connect to a DB2 Warehouse on Cloud service. The Files pane contains the Files, Plots, Packages, Help, and Viewer tabs. The Files tab displays the contents of your working directory. RStudio will load files from this directory and save files to this directory. Navigate to a file and click the file to view it in the source pane. From here, you can create new folders and upload files either by selecting individual files to upload or selecting a zip file containing all of the files to upload. From here, you can also delete and rename files and folders. In order to access the file in R, you need to set the data folder as a working directory. You'll see that the setwd command was executed in the console. You can access the data assets in your project by opening the project folder. The Plots tab displays the results of R's plot functions, such as plot, hist, ggplot, and xyplot. You can navigate through different plots using the arrows, or zoom to see a graph full screen. You can also delete individual plots or all plots from here. Use the export option to save the plot as a graphic or print file at the specified resolution. The Packages tab displays the packages you currently have installed in your system library. The search bar lets you quickly find a specific package. The checked packages are the packages that were already loaded using the library command in the current session. You can check additional packages from here to load them, or uncheck packages to detach them from the current session. The console pane displays the results. Use the X next to a package name to remove it from the system library. You can also find new packages to install or update to the latest version of any package. Clicking any of the packages opens the Help tab with additional information for that package. From here, you can search for functions to get more help. And from the console, you can use the Help command or simply type a question mark followed by the function to get help with that function. The Viewer tab displays HTML output. Some R functions generate HTML to display reports and interactive graphs. The R Markdown package creates reports that you can view in the Viewer tab. The Shiny package creates web apps that you can view in the Viewer tab. And other packages build on the HTML widgets framework and include Java-based interactive visualizations. You can also publish the visualization to the free sites called rpubs.com. This has been a brief overview of the RStudio IDE. Find more videos on RStudio in the Cloud Pak for Data as a Service documentation.